Hello, this is JM Balakan of MobileTechPunay.com, and if you thought the recently released Aqua S9 Max was a little out of reach of your budget, the Aqua S9 Infinity is just begging for your attention. For a much more affordable 7,999 peso price tag, it's an interesting mix of specs. In addition to its eye-catching quad camera setup, it also packs a whopping 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. The Helio P60 could be better though, but it should be good enough for most things including gaming. And the Aqua S9 Infinity gets a bunch of other things right anyway. Now that we've seen the specs, let's take a look at what comes out of the box. First up, you've got the phone with a pre-applied screen protector. We'll peel off the protective film in a bit. Opening up the box, you have your typical wall charger with 2 amps of output. Next, there's an included headset, and the one that came with my review unit was white. It's an in-ear design, so there's some passive isolation, not to mention an inline mic. You're not going to get the best audio quality, but it'll get the job done until you buy something that sounds better. Considering how things are going though, I'm just happy the phone comes with a headset jack. Then you have a USB Type-C cable for charging and file transfers. Again, nothing fancy, so you might want to check out higher-end cables such as what Cherry Mobile have started selling separately. Next up is the removable 4000 mAh battery, which feels slim and light for its capacity. It's also the first time in a while that I've encountered a removable battery, which, though nice, is something I thought was starting to go the way of the dinosaurs. There's also an included clear soft case to protect the Aqua S9 Infinity, and you'll definitely appreciate this inclusion since it can be difficult to find cases for all but the most popular Cherry Mobile phones. There's a large cutout too for the Huawei-esque rear cameras, which are a design feature you'll want to highlight. Finally, there's the comprehensive Quick Start manual. It's exactly the same one as you'll find with the Aqua S9 Max, which isn't a bad thing if you're new to Android. If you've made it this far, how about taking time to leave a like on this video? And if you've been able to check out my old videos, maybe you'd like to subscribe and turn on notifications. It would really help the growth of this channel. Okay, now back to the review. The Aqua S9 Infinity features a 6.52-inch HD Plus screen with a teardrop notch that helps maximize the screen to the front of the handset. There's a pre-installed screen protector, though in my review unit it's misaligned and lower than it should be. Hopefully you'll have better luck when you get yours. The camera array on the back is easily the phone's best design feature, which is usually the case for most phones, but is especially true in the Aqua S9 Infinity. It runs on Android 10 with a serviceable Helio P60 processor under the hood to go along with 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. As far as the user experience goes, I'm happy it's a mostly stock implementation. Navigation is fluid enough, and there's only a bit of perceptible lag. It isn't a deal breaker, but certainly something you'll notice if you're coming from a higher-end device. Navigating and customizing the UI should feel familiar, though Android 10 does have its own kinks. Just tap and hold on the home screen to bring up options such as adding widgets or changing the wallpaper. Bringing down the notification shade shows 2 different sections for your regular notifications and silent notifications, which is a love it or hate it function for me. The command center is customizable, and you can add or remove quick toggles for quite a few of the phone's functions. I'm happy to say there isn't a whole lot of bloatware, and what there is isn't that intrusive. In fact, it really is quite close to stock, which helps contribute to a smoother experience overall. Now, the Aqua S9 Infinity's quad camera setup consists of a 12 megapixel main camera, 20 megapixel depth sensor, 2 megapixel photosensitive lens, and an AI lens. And let's not forget the 8 megapixel selfie camera, all of which I put to the test.
Hey guys, this is Jan Bolacano of MobileTechPinoy.com, and I'm right here in a park in Marikina testing out the Tray Mobile Aqua S9 Infinity. They're touting it as a camera phone, and it's priced just below the Aqua S9 Max. So, probably a step down in performance, but supposedly still up to par in terms of camera. So, this is gonna be a test to see how true that is. I'm also sporting their new Secret Fresh jacket, so pretty nice, yeah.
Most of the shots were taken in golden hour, which means the light was soft and pleasing in most cases. Here the colors are rich and saturated, and in some cases like the pink Volkswagen, it even pops. And while the highlights do get blown out, it's not too bad, and the chromatic aberration, if any, is hardly noticeable, unlike the Aqua S9 Max, which exhibited a little bit of purple fringing in the highlights. Night mode is serviceable, though it's nothing to write home about. Now, I was hoping with 4 cameras I'd enjoy the same versatility as the Aqua S9 Max, which had a wide-angle lens and macro lens among its arsenal. Because all 3 non-primary rear camera lenses supplement the main camera, you don't get the varying focal lengths. That's not to say I'm not satisfied with the photos that came out of the Aqua S9 Infinity. They're great, if a bit saturated, and it feels like the phone doesn't handle skin tones all that well. If you're wondering what the camera app handles like, given that it feels like you're only operating 1 camera instead of 4, it feels like a normal camera app. I'm happy to say the AI camera does work, and it often intelligently and correctly identifies the scene. You get your usual modes such as panorama and beautification. This being a multi-camera phone, it's only right that aperture simulation is included. There's also time-lapse thrown in for good measure. As for the front camera, you get fewer modes, though that's nothing new. It should be noted that it only does 720p for the front-facing camera if you're recording video. Now that we're done with the camera, how well does it perform when gaming? I ran one of my favorite gaming benchmarks, GFX Bench, and tested it against the Aqua S9 Max for good measure. It performs dismally on the Aztec ruins tested both on Vulkan and OpenGL, but becomes acceptable running Manhattan 3.1 at 22 FPS and decent on the T-Rex test at 48 FPS. Playing Genshin Impact on the Aqua S9 Infinity is far from a pleasurable experience, though the capture software is no doubt slowing it down a bit. Still, we're seeing a lot of dropped frames with a character simply exploring the world. Combat is even worse, with a frenetic action taking a toll on the frame rates. Running NBA 2K20 is much better though. The animations look fluid and the frame rates are much better. The players even look a bit like their real-life counterparts. Add to that the crowd animations and it's a fairly immersive experience. Call of Duty Mobile is another enjoyable game on the Aqua S9 Infinity. It's not completely smooth, but certainly playable, and the frame rates hold up even with the action becoming more frenetic. Please excuse the noob who's playing. So what do you guys think? Personally, it's an interesting yet flawed camera phone that will give you great shots for social media for the most part. As for gaming and general operation, it doesn't feel like the 8GB of RAM does that much good, though admittedly I hardly put it through its paces in the multitasking department. Now, I do plan to do a more in-depth camera test on both the S9 Max and S9 Infinity. I'm also thinking of doing a direct comparison between the two. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you'd like to watch, And don't forget to leave a like on this video if you found it useful. Subscribe for more content like this, and if you're really feeling generous, hit the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. I love you guys. See you in the next video.